Hey everyone. So, I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, but I think it's really easy to feel like there's so much saturation and online in general that it's easy to convince yourself that your voice doesn't matter and it won't have impact. And so maybe it's best left to people who are more geared towards this stuff, because this is not and never has been something that I really wanted to publicly be a part of. I've kept myself hidden for quite a long time in regards to what I actually am about, what I like to focus on, and what my main mission here on Earth is going to be. And one of the reasons I did is because I never felt like I would be understood. Kind of the same way most people out there really don't think that they are, and everybody's so worried about talking because you're just going to get written off. But, when I talk to myself and I ask myself, like, what's the most important place to start? And it's always going to be talking about myself. And as somebody who hasn't had a hardest life as some and is aware of her privilege, it's hard to talk about myself, because the story is not the same as what most people have experienced their life. But luckily, because I like to learn the hard way when I was younger, I got to experience life in a very different mindset than what it actually was, because for a long time I blocked my own awareness of how lucky I was. And so when I was young, I knew right away, I'd say like 4 or 5, that something was wrong in the world. And when I would question about it or ask about certain things, I would just be told that I was the problem, So when I was a kid, I couldn't understand why people were mean. And I couldn't understand why bullying or homelessness and stuff like that existed. My family that I grew up with, none of us are religious, and yet I learned that we help our people. I learned that the most that we can be is part of the team, and that when other people are in need, that you help them. I learned that, good people of merit, they just want to help. They do just want to go out of their way to be kind. I grew up watching shows that had all inclusivity in it. So did I ever think that men or female were underrepresented? No. Did I ever think ethnicities were? No, because I just thought about, I get to see them. I wasn't counting the ratios. Later on in my life, drastically later, I went to school, right? And part of what I went to school for was criminology, and then I moved into sociology and law and philosophy, but psychology was always my favorite. And in my studies, I learned that, I learned so much in my studies that now I don't even remember. That's funny. So I went to school and I did learn that people are underrepresented. It is very drastically different for different ethnicities and different people of statures to be on shows. And one of the reasons is because, there was a lot of control in the media for people to look and be a certain way. And so when I was a kid, though, I didn't understand that. And I just thought that there was something wrong with the world, and that for some reason we weren't doing anything about it. I was sad that we were mean to animals. I was sad that nature wasn't more in more places. I was sad that school made me feel dumb and like I was even more of a problem than that I originally thought, because I didn't even think I was a problem. I just thought that the world needed, maybe some shaping. And then I went to school, and immediately we need to put her on medication. Immediately, she's not like everybody else. She's disruptive. comparably to my sister and brother, I also was in my family household. So this wasn't just something that I heard at school. And my family didn't understand for a long time either. Like back then, 1990, moving onwards, we didn't really have a good understanding. We had a better one, but we didn't have what we have now. And even now, I would say it's starting to get a little skewed out there, like we're not maybe helping as much as we're hurting now, because there's over pathologizing and over trying to include everything. And meanwhile, we're missing the most important integral things that people need to know about. And as a kid, my family, I believe, would have been better supportive if I knew how to ask them for help. But since I grew up with a family that didn't know how to do that, I mostly thought that the best way to get along in this world was to become hard like it and insert learning a very long time how to, instead of be vulnerable with people, how to snip back at them, how to banter back with the comments, the rudeness, the ignorance, how to shield myself pretty much so that I could pass along in a world, and if it thought it was going to hurt me, then I could hurt it back. And when I thought that I didn't have any purpose because I grew up in a smaller town, one of the things there is just that you just get married and you have kids. And when I was young, my mom had done that, and then she went to school, and so it wasn't like my mom always was just like a stay-at-home mom. When I was like a young teen, I don't even think I was a teen yet, but maybe like 10 or something, my mom started going to school, and I'm really proud of her for that. Not many in her family did, and so it was neat to see my mom kind of juggle that, but at the same time, instead of learning more from my mom, I didn't see her as much, right? And so then I was just around my brother and sister, which to my brother and sister, I'm the middle child. We always feel kind of some way, I guess. But the point is that they didn't help me change how I felt. If anything, they made me feel like I needed to protect myself from them, because for a long time I wet the bed, and so I was made fun of for that and called lazy, like I wanted to wet the bed. I had really bad skin issues and a lot of energy, but I would also get like easily angered by things. And so to be around siblings that think you're stupid or gross because you pee the bed and shit, and not and shit, but I didn't feel safe in my environment for a very long time. But yet I felt safe enough to be a wreck in my house. And that's the opposite. So we get people who don't understand children. And usually the quiet ones are also going through something just as much as the loud ones are. And for a long time I was like, oh, well, if I need to get heard, if I need to be seen, then I need to be loud. And then that changed. So it went the opposite way. As I got older, I was like, well, I don't want to be loud. I don't really want to be seen. So I need to not come out into these areas and speak like that. And so it's interesting the way that we try to police ourselves when we know something's like undesirable in society. And a large point of why they wanted people like myself to be shunned and feel like ostracized is so that we didn't grow into these things that naturally felt right to us. Because if we naturally were going that way, we would naturally want to change the world, because we would already see that there's a problem. And due to my family, even though them being kind people, there was still so much judgment. There was so much shame. There was so much guilt. So my mom and dad, like one time I found my mom's journal, she's comparing us kids. And I'm not blaming my mom. I love my mom. She didn't do everything right. But my mom also came from a competitive household where her siblings were competing to see if they were better than them. And back in the day, that's how you knew if your kids were okay, because you were comparing them to each other's kids, right? And so I get it, but at some point now we know all kids are different. So you comparing one person's, and especially child rearing, totally different. And what one kid needs, not the same as what another needs, right? And so that's something we see even with healthcare and everything. We're trying to put into these one-size-fits-all models, and that's just not it. But I came from a family that, we protect when we need to, but we help always. That's usually what we do. So I became somebody that went above and beyond to try to please everybody. I always wanted people to like me. I never wanted to make any enemies. I never wanted to. But at the same time, if you were going to be somebody that wanted to be rude and you wanted to, then I would show you that I'm not really scared of you. But for a while, even the people that I cared about, my friends, I was a pushover for them, right? So the things that people could get away with were a lot higher than now in my life. People don't treat me that way because I'm not a pushover. But I still like to be nice and give to people, but there is a boundary there, right? And if I believe that people are crossing it, then it's really easy to reject and remove that from their care. But one of the things that happened to me when I believed in the paradigm and the dogma that is our society, which is a woman just goes, has kids, is married, and is in the house, and that's it. Without my partner, without my kids, what was I to do? Oh, I just had to focus on finding a man then. And that led me to drinking. That led me to the bar scenes. I never really had this period of trying to get to know myself. It was always because I just didn't feel love, that I was always seeking that love outside of myself. One of the first long-term relationships I got into was with a guy who, wasn't the best. Let's just say that. He was into drugs and everything like that, and I was a very young person who lived out of town, so I didn't even really be around drugs. Just like this innocent little country bumpkin. And at some point I believe that my childhood growing up outside of things and not placed specifically in certain cycles, it saved me from experiencing them, which I'm grateful for, because I do know how hard that must have been on the people that don't get to avoid that. And at the same time have no idea. I have no idea what it's like to not have your lights turn on. I have no idea what it's like to not have food. I have no idea what it's like to not even have my own bedroom. I have no idea what it's like to not have two parents. I have no idea what it's like to not have that security enough that you feel like you can be a brat. And not just a brat about being a brat about things that are important, being a brat about, oh, you got me a stereo and it wasn't the one I wanted? Yuck. Oh, you guys got food? There's food in the house, but it's not name brand? And now as an adult, the name brand has poisons in it. So I'm upset that my parents didn't buy me poisons, because do I know better? No, I know that image is all people care about. So now my friends can't come over because it looks like we're poor. Meanwhile, we live on a farm. Most of my friends don't even have big houses, but no, we can't let people come over because we don't buy name brand. There was this sense of ego and materialistic to me that I was raised, not specifically in my family. I believe it is a societal contagion. And one of the things they don't want us to think about, because then we are paying attention to the poisons. We are paying attention to the money. We are paying attention to these things that they kind of just want us to overlook and just not question why we want these things and to just want them. So as a kid, the world felt very cold to me. Even though I didn't. I felt this happy, cute, compassionate, funny girl who just wanted the world to be a utopia. And I always have. And for a long time, not a long time, about the ages, I would say 18 to 24, 25, I started drinking heavily and became, I wouldn't say an alcoholic, because I have an ex who was an alcoholic, and his battle was totally different than alcohol than mine. And so he would say I more or less had a substance abuse, and because of the fact that, most of my life, sugar has been a big addiction for me, and eating in general, which you can see because I'm chunky, but at the same time, I work on my body now compared to back then. But one of the things is that, there's a lot of ways that we can misdirect our energy. And one of the ways that I did was I just didn't care about myself. And I just cared about getting the objective done. I was I just need to find my person, then I can be the wife for them. and then I could be the mom, and then that's really all I have to worry about. And I was drinking, and I could feel my body like not enjoying itself. Like towards the final years of when I drank the most, like I could feel, because I was drinking quite heavily with my friends. It was an everyday kind of thing. Even if the bars weren't open, we weren't drinking minimal amounts. We were drinking large amounts. And there were fights all the time about everything. Because when you're drinking like that, that's all that's going to happen. So when I started feeling my body shutting down, which it just felt ill all the time. And when I got sick now, it was harder on my body. It just felt like my liver couldn't handle it anymore, kind of was what I was feeling. And then I had my first ovarian cyst rupture, and I didn't know what it was. And so I went to the doctor, and that's when the doctor told me that I probably wouldn't have kids. And I was only about 20 at the time. So for somebody who that was like her whole identity, and never, like in school I felt dumb. So I wasn't thinking about where am I going with my career anymore. I already know. I'm just going to be a housewife, and I'm going to be good at it, because I took child classes, so child development classes. I took like art. I took like, cooking. I took there's like a career course that you take afterwards. It's like building up what you're going to be kind of thing. And so I was like, I'll be the perfect parent. That'll be a perfect partner. And that's good. So and it wasn't. That's how you know that it wasn't enough, because I was in the booze the way that I was. I wasn't dealing with myself or my emotions, and I didn't want to apply myself to more, right? Like it was just, so when that was slashed, I was like, what is my purpose here now? Like, and it doesn't just pop out. It took a long time. And I was like, I met a person, and that's what happens. That's why we do. So when you meet these people, pay attention, because they come into your region for a reason, to awaken you to something new, okay? Even seeing me, I'm here for a reason, to point out something new that you maybe haven't gathered. And you're not gathering it in your current circle, right? And so part of one of the things that this person expanded in me is my world. From when I grew up in a small town, it like the world looked like this. And everybody kind of lives similarly in that world. I grew up in Fort St. John, which is a small town, and back then, way smaller. And so most people are either farmers or on the oil field. So you have like a very small bracket of different kind of personalities there. And a lot of them super traditional, super conservative. So a woman speaking up and telling guys to get fucking bent totally was always problematic for everybody. So I was the girl yelling in guys' big grown men's faces for treating women like shit. I was the one getting involved when I see fights, because I don't want people fighting. I didn't care about what would happen to me. I just didn't want disorder and people like killing each other around me. And so like I was always the person that wanted to get involved if I seen something in front of me, because I couldn't stand it. And I was bullied as a kid, so I never wanted anybody else to feel like they were alone in that fight, and that nobody, like people are just watching that. So when I found out that I couldn't have kids, it took a while, but learning from him, he and I went hitchhiking, something I never thought I would do, right? And it was probably the first experience that I'd ever had where I felt the universe. Now, I assume it's source and God. It's where I truly felt the universe come and surround me. And when you feel at your lowest and most breaking point, like you can't do it, that's when, in hitchhiking, I found a car came along. So like it was immediately like a really big symbolic way of like, sometimes when we're at our most lost and we don't know how we're going to get forward, that's when those miracles or breakthroughs come through the most, because that's when we're ready for it, to accept it, and when we'll actually honestly cherish the memory or the moment or the lesson more, because we had that period of I almost gave up, right? I almost couldn't do this, and then look at what happened. And it's proven even in rats. So they would drown rats, okay, seeing how long they could hold their breath. And then they did this experiment where they let them come up for a bit and then drown them again. The rats who never got let up once died in a certain amount of time. The rats who they drowned and bring back up, they had this instilled hope that they would rise to the surface. And so they didn't die. They would actually hold their breath even longer because they're holding out that belief that they know that they're going to come up to the surface again. And that's when we have certain things happen to us, knowing that we can rise above, knowing that there is something else coming from that, it really does help get us through it. It does help propel us through the most treacherous things. One of my favorite philosophers, I don't know if I can say his name, but Friedrich Nietzsche. Anyways, he was somebody who was in the Holocaust, and I'm just looking up his name. But Friedrich Nietzsche. That's how to say it. Anyways, he was born in Linz, Germany. He was one of the people that was pulled into a concentration camp for, the Holocaust. And one of his biggest things in there was about if you have a bigger goal beyond what you are facing, you can surmount any kind of challenge. And in this time, in this world, what we've been dealing with for a very long time, there's nothing more like that. I suffered depression for most of my life. I've had mental illness kind of issues most of my life, mainly because, I am a highly in tune, sensitive person and aware of the atrocities happening. And it's really hard to fathom that it's just happening. So, for me, his work stood out because it was a call of my life. Even though I know I'm not in a war zone, and even though I'm not in a, gas chamber, I know that this reality is fake. I know that we are in a spiritual warfare, psychological warfare kind of game, if you will. And the more that we don't understand the game and that we're in it, we don't play it properly. And that's why the game has been able to take on what it has, because a lot of us have become what they call NPC players, which you're just kind of rinsing, repeating. You're not a real person in this world because you're not doing anything to make a decision for yourself. You were born, they made the decision for you, and you follow it for the rest of your life. You don't question it, and then on your deathbed, you're like, what? So I understand that most of us have been bred to not question. We've been bred to follow the conditional lines. The problem when it comes to people like me is I didn't ever understand the lines. Why are we divided? Why is there this issue with money and people when we created money? When this world is not ours, we all collectively are here together. We did not all decide, I'm just going to come here and take the land. We all were born into this land. All of the land. The only lines that were divided were for us to know where everybody was in different regions of the land, not for us to say this is mine and yours. So the problem for me is I didn't understand why our world was built that way until I did. I started going to school. I studied religion, one of the first things, because the guy that helped change my life with the hitchhiking, he lived on Powell River. Powell River expanded my view tenfold because the people on the islands, way different than a conservative, right? We're moving all the way forward into the other side of the spectrum. And I'm not saying one side, I'm saying they lived freely. It's not that they didn't believe in traditional values because they are, religious. But there was this forward way of moving that life looks so different. For them, they prioritized rest and reading and art. And in my family, it was how much work can you get done? That's your value. How much money can you earn? That's your value. And it's not saying that they didn't care about that there, but it just was as much as what kind of book did you read this week? How did your mind grow this week? And it was such a different, because his dad was so old. So his dad had kids later in life. So his dad was somebody that loved all these things. He's a lifelong learner at 80s, still in school, right? And so his dad took these philosophies on and taught his kids these things. And so the guy that I met had a dad like that. My dad grew up without a mom. My dad, he was just in mechanics and on the farmland. My dad didn't have time to care about art. My dad didn't have time. The only time he really cared about art was when he was complimenting me for drawing, or when he was complimenting the other kids, or when he'd see something nice. But his life wasn't focused on creating art. His life was focused on survival, being the machine, not having a break, doing as much as you can. And like all the men in the world, you know, they're all taught that, you know, and we're hard on them, and I get it, because they're not very nice, and that's why they're not very nice. They've not been told how to be human, and they've been told that they're disgusting if they are. The moment that they show the slightest sign of humanity, we're like, yuck. And so my dad, he's that way because he never got the chance to actually be, you know, and a lot of them don't. They get told who they are, and then they sculpt themselves to be a douche, and we're upset about it, you know. But girls, it's the same, you know. We have different battles, but we're all being sculpted to be something and to be pitted against each other, when meanwhile, if we actually both were just like empathetic and seen, we'd see how tough both sides of the fence actually are. It's just some of us are so focused on our pain that there's no way that we can see beyond any of that, right? Like, we can only see beyond the fact that we're hurting and that things are going on, and that it's so difficult to put yourself in the space of others because you are so hurt that you feel like your thing is so much more, you know? And then you do yourself a disservice, because then you cut off half of your foot, like, or half of your body, because we all have divine masculine and feminine in us, right? So like, when you feel like you can't approach the feminine side, or you feel like you can't approach the masculine side in a healthy way in yourself, it causes problems. But if you especially feel like, I can't talk to women, or I can't talk to men, you're cutting yourself off from this educational, like, partnership that you can have, because not all relationships are supposed to be romantic. But the problem is that we have gone through so much as a society, but one of the things we've never gotten over is the fact that we are in a war zone that doesn't have, just because it doesn't have the war zone effect that we've been taught, does not mean we're not in one, you know. And we're all getting shell shock and trauma and, well, PTSD, and we're wondering why people are not doing good, and like burnout is just like so regular, and why everybody is so, you know, unhappy. It's because this world is not good for us. Like, to fight on the lines of fighting like old ways and beliefs, it's just like so crazy to me, because we're still fighting over whether or not people have food, you know, or should deserve the right to have food, all because of where they were born. And like, a lot of these people that don't have food or money, they were born into that. They didn't even get a fucking chance, you know? And it's the same with some, like, I know there's not all the many smart people out there. A lot of people didn't even have the luxury to go to school. A lot of them, even when they did, the places that they go to school, the programs, they're literally terrible, so that you don't learn, so that you don't expand. And so, like, and then there are people that, you know, even if they did bring these on, they go home and they try to be a better or different version, and because their parents are so like, you're not allowed to be different, you're not allowed to care like that, you're not allowed to be that, and like warp it out of them, you know. And so many people, you know, even me, like, for a long time, oh, you talk too much, you shouldn't talk, I don't know why I keep talking. And like, my number one mission on the world is supposed to talk, you know, just to be able to express to people. I get very emotional. I'm a very emotional person, and part of why I'm gonna get emotional in these videos is because the world needs to see this okay too. These are sad things, man. To think that there are kids being born and just don't have the right to eat is just horrifying to me. And I don't understand how you'll never ever convince me that that's okay. And I don't even care if that meant that none of the rest of the world got to eat as good, as long as we all get to eat. Because we're not all going to just be eating rice, even if we do share the food, okay? It's not like we're losing out on this plethora of food out here. Anyways, point being, my growing up, like, I definitely understand why the world is the way that it is, because it is hard to go against not only what everything you're told in the mainstream, but also in a family that is told you shouldn't be different either. But especially in yourself, when it's hard to confirm to yourself that you are all these things that people tell you not to be. Because then you're damaged, right? You're gross, or, a problem, or difficult. And yeah, I am difficult. I'm difficult especially because I don't agree with lies. I'm difficult because I'm not going to peddle that BS. I'm difficult because I'm going to speak up when I see something that is wrong. I'm difficult. Like, I'm not going to just agree because I need to understand what you mean when you say those things. I'm not just going to agree with you. And that does make me difficult. But at some point, what's wrong with that? Life is difficult and I still love it. And so at some point here, we're scared of these things that actually don't matter. And they made it matter because shame. So if you look on the wheel of emotions, okay? Shame is one of the most lowest frequencies we can be in. And it is one of the most rampant tools of manipulation and control over the society, because the more shame a person is, for one, they're at their lowest state emotionally, so their frequency of their body is the lowest it can be, making them susceptible for illness, other lower entity forces, problems in their life, just actually attracting negative energies in itself. And because you have the mentality that everything's already negative, you're also like a vacuum to suck it in. So being in these lower frequency states, that is one of the reasons that our world is so geared towards negative stimuli, because it actually is a way to consistently drain us of our life force, so that we always are in a constant state of fatigue and illness, so that we never, one, have enough clarity to understand what's going on, two, don't feel strong enough to deal with it even if we do have clarity, and three, feel isolated. So even if we are aware of this, it's just us, and that there's nobody else really that can help us with that. They do this so that we feel that unless we stick with the pack and stay ingrained, we'll be left alone, and that usually people are left alone like that die. And that's why one of the reasons the pack mentality is so strong. Like, why a lot of times you'll see a lot of people who, they might do bad, but usually only one person wanted to hurt people and the others just went along with it. And that's exactly what we see in these regiments right now, and why the world is so sad and disgusting. Is so many people are just wanting to be loved and accepted in any way that they can, that they're holding on to whatever version of that looks like, and they're willing to go whatever distance they need to for that belief. Meanwhile, we need to stop and ask, why are these the courses that we need to take? Why is war, after thousands of years, why is war still our best option with people? And why do we still have people in power that would think that war is the best option? I keep reading this quote that's like, the difference between us and animals, the animals will never let the stupid ones lead, or the weakest members lead. And that's the truth. We are sitting here letting the weakest ones lead, because you better believe that if I know that the emotional frequency wheel has shame at the low energy, I know anger, if it's authentic, is one thing. But anger that stems from guilt and shame is not true anger. It's engineered anger. It's engineered so that you don't think enough about what actually is true, and you fight whatever battle you need to resolve these inner feelings that you're not allowed to deal with, right? Except for in the ways that they tell you can. And one of the ways you're allowed to do that is to go to war and to sign up and be one of these people that can take that into their own hands. And I appreciate the people that protect us. I appreciate the people who, fought before us, because they fought for a grander mission, and they were not aware as much as we are now. But now we are aware, and we know better. We should not be going to war. And the only war that really matters is the war against us and non-technical, like, humans. Because I do believe the evil on this world is not necessarily human. It is being influenced by greater forces. And I definitely believe the more that we don't pay attention to the fact that it's us versus a specific kind of energy and being on this planet, the more we're at a disadvantage. Because right now it's different ethnicities versus different ethnicities, wealth versus no wealth, and like anything. This country versus this country, this religion versus this religion, this sex versus this sex, you know. And the thing is it's none of it matters. And I hate to say that because I know people out there, like, that's all you've learned is that division. And I get it. It's why you've learned it. They want you to feel that way. They want you to think that way. I've studied for a very long time, and when I was in the middle of my studies, I quit. And one of the reasons is because I realized that as much knowledge as I knew, if I wasn't able to get my diploma because of the fact that I hadn't taken enough credits, but yet I'd taken all the courses specifically in the field of my interest. And I was blown away that what do you mean I have to study a bunch of different areas in order to gain enough credit for me to earn title that I had studied the topic I studied, even though the next stuff I was going to study was not going to be related to the topic that I was getting a paper for. And that's when it clicked. They actually don't care if you're educated or not. They don't care about putting you out there, and they don't care about actually, you know, having people work in these industries. They care about the money. They care about the money they're making off of you. They care about how it's not about, oh, we want these people out there. They're like, oh, we want this amount of money to say that you are out there. And I get it. But when you go to school, you realize all the teacher does, they give you a fucking book and you read it and you do tests on it. Which means you can go out and buy any book out there, test yourself on it, and become qualified in these topics. You do not need a teacher. The reason a teacher is there because usually they have their own wealth of knowledge, yes. They are usually then critiquing to make sure that you are understanding and regurgitating the information properly, but they are not technically giving you brand new information in school. They're giving you what is in a book that is already fucking written. You know, and so then now you're paying for that book on top of this teacher, on top of this school, on top of this, just to say that you actually read your book and studied. Meanwhile, there are people that don't even go to school that know these things integrally, right? And they are overlooked because of the fact that they didn't go to school. And for a long time, I held on to it because I was like, man, I need that paper to prove. I need that paper to prove to people that I know what I'm saying, that I put in the time and effort, that I am of worth, that my words have value. And then I think it was like 3 years ago where I thought I was going to graduate, and they told me that I need more credits, and I put this all together. And this is all around at the same time where I was studying a lot more about the social dynamics of psychology. And I was also starting to study more into law and politics, but also philosophy and energetics. So for me, I immediately realized why so many of us are in debt and why they do that. And the purpose is literally just because they're greedy. You know, school actually could be free. We actually could all just be educated and told to learn, and they want us to do that. You know, the problem is that they don't actually want us to do that. And in order to do that, we have to pay for a reason, because they have to put something else on us. So like, if you're exchanging one chain, like you're removing a chain of I'm not intelligent, well, now you need a new chain of like, oh, well, now I have financial burden, or now I'm controlled by this indoctrinated system of school. Like, you're changing one chain for another. You're not technically free because you're learning more information. And that's usually what I used to think, is like, the more knowledge you have, the better you'll be, to not be somebody that is blind to what's going on. So for me personally, school was one of the best things I could have ever done, because it did teach me that I thought the way that I did for a reason. I felt the way that I did for a reason, and that largely society, very unhealthy. So what do you know? Kid me was always right. So I was gaslit my whole life. You know, all these things that I did and became in order to deal with this awareness that I already knew the truth. My body was sick, like I've had multiple digestive issues and other kind of issues. The point is, we can always talk about that another day, but the point is that we make ourselves sick to fit into a society that never wanted us to survive it. Or worse, never expected us to thrive in it. I'm somebody that has found a way to thrive. I'm somebody that has found a way to get through the mess despite it. People talk about escaping the matrix. There is no escape. This is our game. It's time for us to own it. It's time for us to run it. It doesn't need to run us. We write the rules, and we forgot that we're the editors. We forgot that we're the directors. We forgot that we're the people that create the characters. We forgot that we control the game. The point of me being on here and talking, I wouldn't mind people coming on here and talking with me, but the point of me being on here is because I need to start talking. I know more than I ever could express in one video, which is why it's also been hard. I haven't been wanting to edit myself. I've just been wanting to freeball this thing. I want to be in as much authentic state as possible talking to you all, because I know out of all of the emotions out of there, even love, the strongest one I can be in is authenticity. And why is that? Because you got to get through love to get there. And I love myself, this world, everything enough, for me to need to voice this now, and for me to feel sure of myself that what I'm saying is not manipulated in some way that I feel like I'm discrediting anybody that doesn't deserve that. But I am trying to tell you to discredit anybody that doesn't deserve it. And those are a large part of the populace that has the power right now, because they do not care about you. And one of the reasons they don't care is because they don't want you educated to figure this out for yourself. They actually poison you, and the poison in a lot of our foods and in our water is specifically meant to target the receptor in your brain to shut off you being able to make these connections, to shut off you being able to thrive as a human in this time. Because it's a disconnection from yourself, and especially your mind, which your mind is your powerhouse computer. So if you don't have your mind right, you're going to have a really hard time doing anything else with it, because it stems down, right? So if you don't deal with stuff emotionally, what happens? Stems down. You get body issues, right? Or it stems out, so that you'll see it in your life as well. My point being on here is I want to do this because I wish that there had been things out there that were easier for me to understand when I was coming online to a lot of this. But because it's a frequency, right? When we're younger, it just sounds like noise. And at some point when it calls to you, it will make sense. The frequency will all of a sudden be words, and it will be words that speak like almost prophetically to your heart, And so I haven't wanted to do this because I know what happens to people that speak, especially if you speak with a certain amount of truth and power behind you. You're a target. And I honestly don't care anymore. I hope, even if I am a target, you only prove my point that I was speaking of truth with enough power that you were scared of it, and that's what you should look at. Anybody that was assassinated like that, when they're in those movements, those were really important people, because they couldn't even let them get off the ground, okay? They had to stop that movement right away. And so I believe in us people. I believe in this world. I believe in a utopia. And for me, the problem is that we're so busy arguing these divisionary lines, and they are divisionary. They are something that are imaginary. They do not do it on purpose because they're like, we need to protect people. It's always been about control. Because if we as a global population unite, there ain't nothing anybody can fucking do. So they definitely don't even want us to unite in our own sectors, because then we still hold the power in our sector, right? So they do, on some line, they create division lines across the entire globe so that we do not unite that way. They create it in our own areas so that we don't unite in our own areas. And even in our community, right? They still try to enforce these things where we're constantly judging each other so that we're never really having honest, genuine, vulnerable conversations, because that's when people grow and change the most, is through other conversations, through other social interactions, which is one of the reasons that in the studies they're finding out right now with younger kids especially, missing these facial reactions is why we're getting those like Gen Z stares and shit like that, is people not knowing facial cues and how to talk and have these moments because they're not in person with people to understand what that looks like anymore, right? And so for me, one of the best things that we can do is become aware about how they're trying to separate us and why. Because once you start realizing they actually are doing this all for a purpose, I get people have different religions and different faiths, but what does your faith and religion matter if the people that take over the world do not care and we're like say it was all a farce? Nah, that's not important. But the point is like your faith in your religion will only matter as much as you're able to be freely able to believe in it. And when we get into a world that you're not even allowed to have your own faith without people telling you you're wrong, when this world is about our own unique experience and faiths can be found in all different ways, to me, I believe that's much like with everything else. There's not one greater of anything. We're all meant to be here as a piece of the puzzle. These teachings is what religion to me is a teaching of how to reach higher consciousness states. I believe God is in things. I believe the universe source, there is a bigger collective thing that is out there that we are coming from. So for me, when I hear people arguing that their faith or one of them is bigger, you've missed the point of the teaching already then. And if your teachings are telling you something other than that, they've been corrupted. And I do hope people understand this at this point. The books we're reading have been like gone through a bunch of times by different people, all in different mindsets. If you do not have a balanced mindset looking at the books, the teachings for religion or anything else, you have a biasy. So people who translated these from other languages, if you have a biasy, you're going to take it in whatever way you want and word it out for other people. So like my poetry, if I were to explain it to somebody, their interpretation of it would be different. And that's kind of what those books are like. Poetry has so much nuance and saturation. When I say saturation, it's so much information in it that it's so saturated. Every nugget of it matters. And in the Bible, it's similar, but a lot of us took things a certain way and then corrupted it to suit our purpose. And that's what happens a lot, even in society now. The truth is out there, and yet we corrupt it in a way that makes it in our favor. And in reality, these books were always meant to just be a beginning landing post for us to move on, to be on, to expand us. Because this whole point in this world is to evolve, and we're not right now. To go backwards is actually against everything in our nature, which is why it feels so bad and why they need to use so much force to enact it. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I wanted to show people who I was, and that I come here with nothing but authentic intent to really honestly wake up people in a way that isn't, I'm not trying to wake up people who aren't trying to wake up. I'm trying to be a soundboard for the people who are waking up, who want to know how to move forward, because we aren't teaching that out there, and I was called crazy for a long time. And yet now all of the things that I was crazy about have come true. I was discredited for most of my life, and yet without any credit or backing, even then I was right then. So let alone what I'm right about now. And it's not about being right. It's about understanding. And so a lot of these understandings I've come to, a lot of them have abolished how I believed before, because they changed what I knew about the world by allowing this new information to come in. So when I'm out here trying to give videos, it's not because I'm like, you need to think like me, you need to be like this. This is a beginning nugget, just like how I believe the religion was supposed to be used, for us to build off of, for us to find our own unique path, for us to realize this little bit of knowledge to help move us forward, not to focus and only become, obsessed with them, but it's for us to actually take it and use it critically in a way that we can apply it in our own life and how we can adapt it. And the more of us that do that, the more of us that can find our own collective different ways of healing out here, versus still trying to conform to one size fits all. So for me, one of the most important parts about doing this is genuinely just helping people in a real way understand what has been going on for eons. And that I hope that people know, any higher dimensional being out there that is actually in favor of humanity They all want us to figure this out. They all are trying to help us, okay? There are definite forces out there that do not want us to figure this out. There are definite forces placed here specifically to challenge us, to see, will we say yes when we know we should say no? And that's where we're at right now. Will you say no when you know you should? When you know this isn't actually right? And a lot of these things are testing us because they know that we have free will here, and you get to decide what this game is like. If most of us are agreeing to co-sign the crap, guess what game we're playing? A crap game. I, for one, am tired of a crap game. I'm ready for heaven mode. And I've been living in it for a long time. And to the best of my ability, it's just really hard to know you're in heaven and the rest of the people are in hell. Okay? So I can't stand thinking that life isn't that bad for me because I'm at a privilege to not have to deal with how horrible it is. Meanwhile, I still feel how horrible it is. I feel collectively for everybody. And so I could get consumed in that every day if I let myself, right? And for a long time, that's what I was trying to take space to learn how to get better at, is holding space while not being consumed by what's going on there. And so to do these videos are incredibly difficult for me. I do not like to put myself out, like public speaking. I do not want to offend people who maybe don't understand and yet still, at some semblance of a level, want exactly what I'm talking about. We all want a utopia. It just looks different to all of us because we all have our own belief of what that looks like. But mine is different because I'm not thinking of it through the lens of these divisionary things that they've really tried to put on us, because they've done that on purpose to keep you from loving each other, to keep you from learning that other piece of the puzzle. Because if you learn the whole puzzle, you would not be manipulatable. You would not be somebody that they could use for their will. You would become somebody that uses their own will. And that's the importance of why I have these videos and why I needed to do them, is because in a world where nobody's thinking for themselves, we need to start teaching people how to think for themselves. In a world where nobody loves themselves, we have to start teaching people how to love themselves. In a world where nobody is taught that everybody is together, we have to start teaching people how we are together and how we can come together. There are a lot of very simple things that we just need to change this world. And the thing is we have to agree, because when we don't agree, that's when the war comes. And guess what? The people on the side of the good, they are willing to fight for what's on the side of the good. Because I know what stands on the side of the other is evil. There is a definite good and evil taking place here. And we'll never stomp out evil. But I'll be damned if I let evil have the reign of this realm. I'll be damned. I will not allow that to happen. And I will fight for it. So anybody who says that somebody is less than them, that we need to get rid of these types of people, that these types of people don't deserve food and water, that these type of people don't deserve rights, that these type of people's voice and stuff don't matter as much, that's a problem. There are people specifically that have that intention out there because that's their belief system. Some of them, I wonder, if you were shown a new way, could you change? And some of them, they will not. They will hold those beliefs to the grave. And sadly, those are the ones that, we probably will have to have a violent war at some point to fight. But I don't mind fighting if it's not for something like a lie. I'm not fighting left versus right, because I know not everybody on the right or the left are good. There are people on both sides that I don't agree with living in general. How dare you? There are child molesters on both sides of these fences. Yeah. There are murderers. There are fucking people of terribleness on both sides of these parties. They hide out for a reason, and that's because it suits their purpose. Don't believe everything you hear from people out there, and don't believe that just because somebody follows your party that they're of good value. The part is that we need to know where people's character is, and that's what's going to come out in these future years. Your character is everything. A good character, and I hate using good and bad because technically that's another divisionary line. What is good, what is bad? It's all us predetermining it. The only thing that I can say not in alignment with the highest timeline that we could be on, that is utopia heaven mode, is thinking we're better than anybody else. Immediately, we lose the picture then, which is why I'm not saying I'm better than these guys that feel, or these people that feel that way and want to use these systems. I'm just saying I think you're looking at a limited viewpoint, because to me, if you're actually seeing the whole bucket or the whole like puzzle instead of your little piece over here, you would see that your divisionary lines only get you so far. And in a world where we're moving towards collective consciousness, it means we are not going to be governable in that way anymore. It means that as a genuine consensus collective, we all are just going to have to accept that this is the better way and this is what we should do, versus I have to be told this is what I should do. You know, right now, people are being told I have to do this in order I'm not a Christian, or I'm not a Muslim, or I'm not this. You know, I don't believe, like, I'm not standing up for my people if I don't do this. And it's not true. It's not true. You know, and you can still be of your faith and still decide, you know what? My faith never was going to tell me to kill people. Because I've been learning that there are specific faiths, old books, especially Old Testaments, that if you are of a different religion, you are immediately somebody that they are like, you should die. You know, and that's the same. Like, there are cultures and religions out there that because I'm a certain gender, I have no right to speak. Right? So I've dated guys that if they voted conservative, I'm like, well, why do you like talking to me so much? Because you technically voted for a woman that does not talk. So you clearly do like some of it. So there are, when we're looking at these left versus right, the arguments, they are not always going to be exactly how we think they're going to be. You know, like, they are not always going to show up and show us the way that we actually do connect. The whole point of these divisionary lines are to show us why we disconnect. But one of the conversation changes that needs to happen is, how do we stem forward collectively to move forward to better? I think we all can collectively agree we're not having a great time like this, even in people and cultures that maybe are trying to assimilate and, you know, take over the world. I can guarantee you're trying to do that because you don't enjoy what's happening now. And those people who are in power are using that to their advantage to gain that leverage over you so that you can be a tool that they can use to manipulate and control others by you enacting their steps forward for that, which is a lot of the time to take it by force. You know, and a lot of these people who are enacting these things, they're doing it because they're trying to gain approval, because they're trying to prove something, because, you know, it's not a lot of it is because they truly believe in their heart. It's because something outside of their heart told them this is how you get into your heart. This is how you talk. This is how you show God that you actually believe in God. This is how you show your family that you actually love your family. You know, and it's all lies. So I do have ADHD. I'm somebody that is incredibly highly sensitive. I have been told by my guides to classify myself as a shaman. I respect the title so much that I don't even like to use it. But at the same time, one of the things that I have been certified in is life coaching, and it changed my life. So one of the things that I want to do on here, I'm not trying to coach people. I am definitely trying to be your buddy. And as a buddy with all of my friends, the thing I've always done my whole life is if I know something, I'm going to try and help you understand. Not because I want you to become like me or I need you to take on a certain thing, but because once you do understand, you're a whole different person. I was a whole different person before I understood. You know? And when my pain was all I could think about, when my pain ran me, when my emotions ran me, you know, when my disgruntledness and tension and unhappiness ran me, and a lot of that was caused because of the world around me trying to make me that way, and I allowed it, right? When I let it run me, I was in the worst state of my whole life. My health and my mentalness and my relationships, everything struggled. So yeah, this world does keep you that way for a reason. It wants you to struggle in all of those capacities. And when I started healing bit by bit on that hurt inside, becoming more aware of not only my hurt but others' hurts, and then coming aware of these major themes and control tactics used, it changed my life. and it changed every interaction I have. It's changed every relationship I have. It changed essentially even my connection with just walking on the earth, you know. There is a difference that happens there, and it is something so profound that I hope that everybody can experience it, because even if you feel good and you're a terrible person, like, and by terrible I mean like you're eating babies and like committing all kinds of hate acts and shit out there, if you even feel good on your best day as that, I just can't even imagine how good you'd feel if you were actually on like the other side. Because I know when I wasn't doing well and something bad, like not bad, but like something would happen that would make my bitter heart feel happy, it still was like a jaded wound. It was never like, oh, I'm truly happy. It was like, oh yeah, good. Now they feel like shit like me, you know, like there was always this nasty connotation behind it. And now it's just like, wow, what a beautiful day. And it means nothing for anybody besides me. So I honestly, it's difficult sometimes, I think, to understand the large mission that we have here, but the best thing that you can do is find out who you are, what you value. When I did that, when I was in my counseling and certification, like what happened was I started learning about all these things that I was taught to care about my whole life that I actually don't. And so now I don't need to care about those things, because if I only care about my values, then technically all those things should fall in line with my values, because these are the things that actually make me feel good, like I'm keeping up with them. The problem is that we don't actually get time, a lot of time in our life. Since we're childs, we don't get taught to think about who we are as people. We just get indoctrinated into a system and programmed like a computer rather than known as a human. And that's why I think a lot of our problems are coming up, is because even sexuality, I don't have a problem with people being all kinds of different nature, but I definitely believe that people wouldn't be as confused or go through such a hard time if they knew themselves first, before we started being like, you need to be talk about your sex and everything like that. You know, like, I get it. It matters. It definitely does. But I also think what matters more is, who are you? Because you're going to be with you forever. So changing your body now, or suiting your life to a certain image, you know, that's all fine and well and dandy. But if it isn't for you and it doesn't align with your values, no matter what it looks like, it's not going to feel good, and it's going to cause you sickness, because you're not nourishing yourself in the ways that those values matter. So for me, I argue the most important thing we can do collectively to stop what we're doing right now is to look at who we are as a person, right? And like, I would say in your values, do not put religion. I would put maybe spirituality, you know, like, you want to connect with something spiritual. Your religion is a way that you can do that, but it is not the ultimate form of connection that you have. You know, it is actually that spiritual connection that is what you care about. But because the thing is, you want to look at these things in like bigger themed ways rather than narrowed it right down, because then you can narrow the brackets down, and those brackets, so like mine, like if I say connection, I want a connection with nature. I want a connection with myself. I want a connection with the people I love. I want a connection with animals. I want a connection with my food. You know, I want a connection with others, like people that I just want to talk to. And so there's many different ways that I can use that, but connection is one of the most important. So in a day when I need to figure out how to make myself feel better, if I have 5 values that matter, each with their own brackets, guess what? Now I have five different options on how to make myself feel more nourished. And each one of those things have like 5 or 10 different things of ways that I can do it. So I'm always constantly filling myself back up, and in a way that also still serves everyone around me, because a lot of the time it usually does. Usually when you're not focused on selfish means, even your things for yourself have, by proxy, are a good thing for others. So that's why it's never selfish to really work on yourself. It's selfish if you only care about yourself. Like, I only care that my family has food. I don't care if the rest of the world starves. You know, like, that's a problem. Okay? Just saying. Anyways, this video is already long enough, so I just think it's really important for us to look at who we are as people, and to realize that when we take a step back from these divisionary lines, we are all people. all upset, all wanting our life and our things to matter, and they do. As much as we don't want to think other people do, especially on other sides of the fence, they do. And a large part of why we have so much combativeness is a lack of education. But it's not just an education about what's already out there. It's about an education of what they never wanted us to teach or know. And that's one of the things that are most important in these conversations with me. But what I want to touch on, should we have learned in school that they did not teach us? And how should we be using that as adults, even if they didn't teach us, And how should we be applying that globally? Because if we were taught that as kids, this would be what we would be talking about now. And this is what we now need to talk about. We get there's problems out there. Let's fucking fix them. Let's work on that. So yeah, I was trained as a life coach. Well, now guess what? The world is my client. Not the world, it's people, but the world itself. How do we make you better, world? How do we help you, Earth? How do we birth you, utopia? How do we do this? And that's when we can all come together. And if you immediately throw in your harsh beliefs and line system, you're going to discredit everybody else's. So when you come in with answers, they can't just be your perspective. You need to actually come in with a well-rounded perspective that you've actually thought about people on the other side of the fence. Because guess what? The fence wasn't there because they put it there. The fence was there because they did that on purpose so that we didn't share notes. So let's start sharing fucking notes. Let's start doing this. Let's start moving us forward. There is no reason for them to stop us except for the fact of if we let them stop us, okay? And right now we're at this amazing part in so many people coming online, so many people standing up, so many people finding their voice. The energy, the momentum, everything is behind us right now. So let's use it. Let's collectively come together. There is a collective movement that we could all make, which is, I'm not in favor of any of this because I'm in favor of something better than this. And right now, all sides of the fence, they're missing something. That's why nobody can collectively agree on it, because you're missing something that you hold of value in that other side that is incredibly important for you to take into your stance in this world. And we need to get down to the cores of those, because I strongly believe if we got to the core of everybody's values, we would all realize that we have the same ones, especially maybe not the people that are terrible, but because their mission in this world is not to unite, but the people who their mission is to unite, we do all have the same goals, okay? And the more that we come together on that, the more we share those notes, the more that we can nourish each other, the puzzle builds 10 times faster and we all can figure it out. Versus right now, of course I don't understand the whole puzzle. I'm over here with only my share of the puzzle, and my other people who maybe I haven't even talked to have a whole side of the puzzle that I need to know, which is why I know I'm coming out here not being somebody that, yeah, I know it all. I'm a professional. I'm ready for this. No, I'm not. I'm scared. I'm scared to talk to y'all because I don't know it all. But I love to learn, and I love to understand, and I love to relate to people because I get it, okay? And I'm not trying to say that I'm not holding people accountable, and I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to be kind on one person and not on another. I'm trying or to be something that's so passive that I need everyone to like me, because that's a really easy thing to fall into. The point is that I know people on the other side of the fence that I love, and when I talk to them about why they're on that side, there's justifiable metrics for why you're there. I'm just saying the way that they want to get to them, maybe not the best, but on my side also, the metrics that we use, maybe not the best either, because when they talk about their fear of my side, I understand, because that's directly why they choose the side that they're on. It's not about the fact that there are sides. It's the fact that we all are not understanding that most of us want the same thing. It's just about how we're going about it, okay? And it's largely because they taught us not to do that. They don't want us to know how to go about it. They don't want us to have these okay, I can set my beliefs aside and hear you, because if I were able to do that, then I'm not emotionally thinking. I'm actually logically studying now, right? I'm learning. And even if I don't agree with everything you say, if I'm learning, I can put it into different little, like, again, core things and have it apply so that you understand where they're coming from. So this is very difficult for me to do. I know that I'm going to have a lot of people that maybe don't like me, and that's okay, because you know what? I don't like many people out there either. But I do love humanity, and I do love knowing what humans are capable of when we give them the benefit of the doubt. And I do love to see the marginalized, the smalls, the underdogs come up. And like it or not, anybody who's like me, anybody who, you know, you're a human and you've been a pawn to the system your whole life, you are the underdog. It is not you and your religion against the world. It is you against whoever's put in power and their main directive against the rest of the world. So whoever we put in power, whatever we decide, those people are who are pulling puppets on our strings. And it is us, the puppets, that are tired of being puppeted. I'm my own puppet master. Are you? And if you are, then I look forward to having conversations with you, because we can help each other. And if you're not, well, guess what? Then all of us puppet masters are going to teach you how to cut your strings, because that's what you need. You don't need to be an avatar for them to use. You need to be your own avatar for you to move forward as, you know, your own being. Like, think about the Avatar movies, right? Like how Sully claimed, I think his name's Sully, how he claimed that body and he made it his own, right? At some point, we have to claim our body, make it our own, and change this world based off of what we're going to act with when we choose ourselves and when we choose humanity. Everything out there right now is not humanity. It is money. It is greed. And they're destroying the planet. They are destroying humanity. So if you are in favor of any of it, technically you're not in favor of the destruction of us all. So there has to be some common ground where we can all work together, right? And that's the thing, is if you really love God, you can't hate half of his creation. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean you should hate me, right? Just because I am who I am, and just because you are who you are, I shouldn't hate you either. I definitely shouldn't wish any death on you. So there is but there are people who have done horrible things, like killing babies, raping babies, like sex trafficking. I do wish death to a lot of those people, largely because I know that even if we change society, you probably won't change, sadly. Especially ones who really get off on this power struggle, hunger thing, because no matter what we do to the world, you'll always be looking for a way to destroy it. And sadly, we can't allow that, can we? No. So I do know at some point there will be a battle for these beliefs. But right now, the battle is in our mind and in our hearts. And I want to unite them both, because I believe when we all start thinking with our head and our hearts in an authentic manner, as authentic as possible, with removing all of these positions that really cloud the mind, because we can fight over tons of details, meanwhile still be saying the same thing. You know what I mean? Have you been doing that with your friends? A lot of friends out there, we're all saying the same stuff. A lot of beliefs out there, we're all saying the same stuff. It's just a different tone or a different text, and we think we're speaking different, but we're not, and it's just because of those divisionary lines that make us feel like we're not on the same page. Meanwhile, we are united in believing we all deserve better than what's happening out here. It just so happens that other people are blaming other people on the side, thinking that that's the reason it's not better. It's not better because they don't want it better. Please. They stop making money and they have no control if it's better. There is a reason we are like this, and there's a reason big things always continuously come up every time humanity is awakening more. So pay attention out there to everything. It all matters. But if you're here still and you made it all the way through, thanks. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. There's a lot of videos that I have set up to make, and they're all themes and different things that help me awaken through my process. they're not going to be things that align for everybody, and that's okay. The point of this is for the people missing this puzzle piece, for them to find it. And not everybody is going to align with my puzzle piece, okay? Not everybody's going to align with the information I have, because maybe they already have that nugget and they got it in a different way. But my nuggets are to help the people that need them. So if you're still here, you might need one. And honestly, I really do not give a F-bomb. I do not care if you are mean to me or whatnot about that. I'm really happy to use a block button. And I really don't care, because all you're doing is proving a point. If that's all you've come on here to do is be cruel. Especially when my message is to like unite humanity for utopia. Wow. Good job. You're only proving my point that we really do need to help people out here, because that just is exactly why people are doing that, right? It's just so unhappy with their world that they can't even imagine somebody coming in, especially maybe a woman, to say anything about it. And I think all of us women at this point are just like, shut the fuck up about it, because honestly, we've been listening to you guys talk for so long, and it's all still terrible. So give us women, give us other people, give us people who have been called crazy our whole life and yet turned out to be right our whole life. Give us a chance. Let us show you. Do you think my life changed because I just was like a bigot about everything? No. It changed because I realized that I knew nothing. That I was no better than anybody. And that my privilege had afforded me some luxuries. And the reason that I use them now is because I've had the luxury to go to school. I've had the luxury to grow up in a house that had a different environment that most people need in order to do well. And I've had this time and space to heal, which most people need and do not get. I've had not only, even though my family were the best, they did support me. They've always been there. They would always be there, and so for me, I truly am at a different position than most people in life. Even the ones that claim to be rich and have it all, they don't even have half of what I have, because they've still been so indoctrinated into these lies and these ways of being that they can't even be them still, right? So I'm truly grateful for my life. Do I have the best of everything? No. And if you're here because you want to get $1 million, you're in the wrong place. I'm not a millionaire. But if you're here because you want to actually be happy in life with what actually matters, with yourself, with your soul, with the connection to above and the connection to the land beneath your feet, yeah, stick around. I'm having a harder time connecting with people, but I've always had an easy time connecting with people. The reason I'm having a harder time now is because everybody is so bamboozled, right? And so I don't want to. It's draining to talk to everybody now. But I do love talking to people, so it's not like I'm against that. But here, I'm more talking to you to talk to yourself and how to repair that, because once you start repairing this all changes. You better believe when I was an alcoholic, I didn't care about the earth, I didn't care about how I treated people, and I definitely didn't care about how I treated myself. And that was back when I had no awareness of the world around me and anybody else around me, right? And I just cared about me getting my marriage and my kids, and that was it. And boop. And guess what? I didn't get any of those. I still am not married. I don't have kids. But I do have a lot of knowledge now. And I'm tired of hoarding it, because that's what I've been doing, is hoarding it. Yeah, I'm really appreciative to be speaking out about it, because it is something that has called to me for a very long time. It's been 6 years in the making for me to start doing this. And I've heard from so many people that I should, and it's just so scary. I think just because I don't just talk about, even my ex said it best. He's like, man, it's just you can't just listen to one thing. You look into so many things. I'm like, yeah, because I'm taking a collective look and knowledge and putting it together to make a plan that is actually a little bit more congruent to more sides of the fence, right? A bigger picture. And I like to focus on holistic. It's holistic healing. So healing for me is not just your body. We have to heal the emotions. We have to heal our mind as well as our connections with others. And so for me, there's just so much that I've wanted to talk about, and was always so worried about talking about it because I always felt like it was never going to be anything somebody could track or understand, because I was so shameful in the way that I ramble. But now I just find there's something so beautiful about it. Some of the things people love about me the most is when they just get to listen to me talk. And some of the things people love about me the most is when I do bring up random things that they didn't really think about and they didn't really know. And it always comes out in a weird way that isn't unique. So it does get people thinking because it is spoken in a way that maybe they haven't heard before. So I truly do appreciate finally taking this step, because it is something that has called to me. And I do believe people in the world need it right now. Like, it is something that people could really benefit from, and that even me, to live in a more authentic state, feeling that I'm free to do this, it helps the energy of the planet itself. Any little thing we do for ourselves and for the world, we are helping to create that energy. Don't look at my cat's butthole. To change and move the world forward. It's like a propelling motion, right? Like, we're using that gust of wind that we're all doing to help steer us all forward. So don't discredit any little action you do, even if nobody watches, nobody responds. The energy of you doing it is way more than you could ever imagine, and it'll matter more than you not doing it at all, because now you're following your heart to do that, for one, but also you're helping the energy out there for the other people who are trying to gain the courage and momentum to do it too. Because in the game of us all being connected, you are part of their energy. That's why all of us are getting stronger right now. More of us are coming online, and more of us are finding the ways to actually teach and help, is because more of us are propelling this forward. So believe in yourself, believe in what you know, and never be afraid to listen to some rando that you find, because usually they hold a nugget that you're supposed to come into contact with. So I can't wait to talk to you guys again, but for now, thank you for everything. Have a great day. Much love. Bye.